Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Housing. It is November 10th. I'm Corey Shields,
And I'm Boomer Bates.
and we're going to talk about, we're actually going to go over some questions that we received this week from some potential buyers and sellers out there in the Dalton market. So, Boomer, let's run through this list and see if we can provide some good answers here.
Let's do it.
Question number one. Besides opening doors, how does a realtor provide value? You want me to take that one?
Yeah, take that one.
All right. I think if someone asked me, Corey, how you providing value? Why do I need to work with you? I would say, first thing that comes to mind is I think we have inevitably done a lot of the research that a buyer or seller would have to spend quite a bit of time on. I mean, you think about like when someone wants to buy a car or even something cheaper than a car, like what are they doing? They're Googling, they're like doing side by side comparisons and all that. And I think the nature of real estate, you can't really do that.
Right.
So I think it's important to work with someone who's familiar with the area, familiar
Yes.
with the types of loans that we use in this area, values, the difference between this street and the street next door, especially if you're not from here.
For sure.
I would also tell someone that throughout the buying process, there are a few points of potential conflict.
For sure.
That's what we would call an inspection, an appraisal. Sometimes people butt heads, right?
Yeah. And it's good to have a mediator. And that's
Exactly.
where real estate agents.
So to kind of remove the emotion from those points of conflict, which the conflict is almost inevitable. So for us to approach it kind of logically and without that emotion, I think a lot of times that is what saves the deal.
For sure.
And I think that's why a lot of for sale by owners fall apart because they get to that inspection or appraisal and they don't know what to do.
Yeah. So whenever the buyer calls us and they're upset, we can take that information and make it not upset and present it to the seller's agent. So yeah, that's where we provide our value. Sure.
Exactly. And so we also, because we're doing so much business, we got a solid network of good lenders. We work with good attorneys. And so everyone together, I think the idea is we help you buy or sell with as little effort on your part as possible. And
Yes.
so I think that's what we do. I think that's pretty valuable.
That is. Yeah. I like that.
Awesome. Let's see what the next question is. How much does a realtor cost? And so that's for a buyer or a seller.
Okay. How much do we charge? How much do we cost? To the buyers, generally nothing. There are a few out there that will charge their buyers. We do not. We feel like that we earn your business. So generally the way real estate agents get paid is Corey, somebody calls Corey. Corey, I want you to sell my house. Great. We're going to sell your house. We charge 6%. That does not mean that Corey has to keep that whole 6% himself. It means that he takes that money and he has to split it with the other agent that brings the buyer. And they split it with their broker. And they split it. And then we split it with our broker. And then, of course, the tax man gets his cut. So, and plus we have marketing costs and other administrative fees. So the real answer to the question is what does a real estate agent cost? 6% is what we charge. There is no set fee. It is
For a seller, you mean?
For a seller, yes. We charge 6% to the seller to sell their house. And then usually we do a co-op of 3% to each side of the buying. So Corey's got it listing. I bring the seller or the buyer, excuse me. My broker gets 3% and then he shares that with me. So if you're looking to buy, there's no reason not to use a real estate agent. If you're looking to sell, really consider it. There are countless stories of people leaving money on the table that are trying to do for sale by owners. One, for example, has happened here in the office. I'll leave out most of the details, but these folks had some property. There was 3 units on this property. Wanted to sell it themselves. One of the other agents in the office called. Hey, I want to talk. I'm not talking to a real estate agent. He's like, well, wait a minute. I'm interested. And they're like, I'm not talking to a real estate agent about this property. And okay, well, if you don't want to talk to me? No. Well, will you sell it to me? They're like, well, what? And the agent was like, I'll buy it.
Interested for themselves.
Yeah, for themselves as an investment.
Yeah.
And so the person's like, yeah, sure. He's like, okay, cool. I'll give you whatever you're asking for it. And so wound up, it was worth substantially more, but because the person didn't want to deal with real estate agents, they didn't like real estate agents. They charge 6% and they don't do nothing. So that agent wound up selling the duplex, I believe, for what he paid for all 3 properties, and got the other house that was on the property free and clear.
Yeah.
Because that person did. And so, yes, for sale by owners, you can do it, but be careful, and why not pay a professional to help you?
Yeah. And I've got plenty of my own for sale by owner scenarios that kind of play out like you said. People get caught up on the 6%, but the value is the amount of traffic that a good realtor will get you versus the amount of traffic you will get for sale by owner. The amount of traffic is going to increase the amount of offers. The more offers you get, the higher the price. You gain more than that 6%.
For sure.
What if I'm working with a realtor for a while and I decide I want to work with someone else? Can I do that?
Oh, that one's that's a tricky question. So, whenever you're working with a real estate agent, in order to get their fiduciary, I'll struggle with that word, responsibilities, they usually have you sign a buyer brokerage agreement, and so that means that they are representing you. You're falling under their net of protection. You're inside the circle of trust. Whenever you sign the buyer brokerage agreement with a real estate agent, they can represent you to the seller's agent and help you. And then if there are issues, we have errors and omissions insurance that you get the protections of that. And like I said before, if you're a buyer, there's no reason not to work with an agent. But so you've been working with myself for a while, and we have a buyer brokerage agreement signed. Our policy on the Selling North Georgia team is that if you feel like we haven't earned your business, we're not helping you, we're not working hard enough for you, our policy is you can tell us, and our contracts are cancelable by either side at any point. We will put a date on there just because we're legally required to. But if you come to me and say, Boomer, you're not working for me hard enough, I don't want you to work for me anymore. Or you decide not to buy a house, whatever, we'll cancel it. No hard feelings. We'll still be friends. Now, all that being said, make sure your expectations are set up accordingly. The real estate agent wants nothing more than to help you find a house that you're going to be happy with, or that's what our team model is we don't just want to sell people houses. We want to help people find their homes that best suit their needs. And if you feel like we've not done that, then yeah. But if you've been working with an agent and they're not, they may hold you to that contract. They may say, hey, yeah, you signed this contract saying that you would let me represent you buying anything until January, 13th or whatever date you throw it out there.
Yeah, I think so. It really comes down to the buyer brokerage agreement, right? A lot of agents don't even get them signed.
No, a lot of agents don't.
So the answer to the question would be, if you're working with someone for a month and you didn't get one signed, you can jump ship if you want to. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can.
If you did get one signed, you can ask the agent, hey, you're not doing a great job. I'd like to get out of this. And then at that point, the agent can say whatever their response is to that. Yeah. And for our team specifically, we're all pretty cool about it.
Yeah.
If for some reason somebody wants out, whether it's a listing or a buyer brokerage agreement, by all means, we will let you go.
You said that very, very, very better. You said that very better than I did.
Very better. That's a wonderful comment.
Yes, very better.
Thank you. USDA loans. We do those sometimes.
Yeah.
So will I be super far out into the country if I use a USDA loan?
They should have plumbing. You should have indoor plumbing.
Maybe. It's hit or miss.
No, for real. USDAs are a excellent product. They are a little tougher. They've got several restrictions. I am not legally qualified to tell you what all those are. That would be a lender question. But I can tell you if the property qualifies.
So for our market, what does that look like?
Pretty much, because USDA is for rural development. It is, if it's in the city limits, it's not going to qualify.
In Dalton.
There are some towns that qualify, but here, Whitfield County, I know really well because it's where I live and I work. But anything north of the North Bypass, generally, there are exceptions. North of the North Bypass, outside the bypass perimeter and west of 75
Mhm.
is usually. So no, you don't have to live out in the sticks to get a USDA loan. I mean, there are some that are, I'm trying to think of what's the best one. Donville Road has several, and I mean that's really close to town.
I think the closest to here city limits that I can think of that has generally pretty good properties that are not quite like, a lot of people try to avoid the southern end of town. It's so industrial and everything, which is
Yeah.
USDA, but like Airport Road area,
Mhm.
you can
Yeah.
go USDA there.
Yeah.
Anything in Murray County, a
Hmm.
lot of Rocky Face, Varnell, Ringgold, you can
Yeah.
go up there.
Yeah. And did you have mentioned this? The good thing about the USDA is you can actually buy a house with 0% down.
Mhm.
So that's what stops a lot of people. We hear that from a lot of younger folks. I want to buy a house. I'm tired of renting. I'm tired of living with mom and dad, but I can't save up 20% because a house costs 250,000. I got to save up $50,000. How much you can't?
Yeah.
And generally, it's very hard for anybody unless I don't know what circumstances you would need to be able to save that up, but that gives you an opportunity to start building wealth for your family with that USDA loan. Now they are a little tougher. The appraisal process takes longer. It takes generally 45 days to close on one of those.
Mhm.
So it does have its drawbacks. Sometimes sellers agents are not excited about USDA loans. So, but it is a chance to get into a house for 0% down. I mean, you got to have some money, but you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have to
they're
have $50,000.
right. Yeah, they're really solid. We've done plenty of them, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
good program depending on where you're trying to live.
For sure.
Final question,
Final question.
number 5.
Final answer.
Part-time versus full-time. So, is it maybe not such a good idea to work with a part-time agent, or are they just as good? What do you think?
There are great part-time agents. There are great full-time agents. There are bad part-time agents, and there are bad full-time agents.
Very true.
So I would want to work with somebody who deals with it day in and day out and does not have to worry about another job.
Mhm.
After I've been in it for a while, if you're working with more than one person trying to buy or sell houses, I could see it being very difficult because I do it full time, and and I've even on a team that has people that handle stuff for us,
Mhm.
and it still gets to be a little overwhelming for me handling for my clients and trying to provide the best customer service that I can.
Mhm.
I never did it. I quit my job because I just knew the job that I had at the time, there was no way to do real estate and that job because that job took up so much time.
Mhm.
So there are, I mean, yeah, if you're considering an agent that has a full-time job that gets off work at 3 or 4 every day, that's great. And they can show you houses. But a lot of lenders and appraisers, I mean, I take it back. The lenders, they work about as much as real estate agents do. But the actual hours that their office is open are the same as business. So how are
Mhm.
it's hard to get stuff done. The appraisers, the inspectors, there's not a right or wrong answer. Personally, I couldn't be a part-time agent because I couldn't devote the time to my clients that I feel like it needs. There are people that are probably better organized than I am that could do that, and there are a lot of people that do it. I've got several friends in the business. They've got full-time jobs and they love their job and they sell real estate for fun, or not for fun. That's not the right word. They like what they do,
Mhm.
and it is a way to help other people and supplement their income. So eh, there's no right or wrong. It just depends on the agent.
Yeah, I think that's fair. My first thought is, aside from the fact that yes, a part-time agent probably has something else taking up their time most of
Hmm.
the day. I will say when you're full-time versus just dabbling, there is a lot of information, statistics, little subtle pieces of unique processes. I know I'm sounding very vague right now, but there are little things that you don't pick up on
Hmm.
unless you are doing it every day, all day.
Yeah, for sure.
And that those little subtle pieces of knowledge could be what you needed to get the deal done.
Mm, I could see that. Yeah, and again, people are going to see this, and my friends that are part time agents, they're going to be like,
Yeah,
"Wait, wait, wait." No, I mean there are great part time agents,
yeah,
and just it's as case by case. There's no, hey, part-time agents are not any good and full-time agents are. It's not like that. But you have to just see their track record and think about getting that buyer brokerage agreement.
Exactly. As for us, though, we're full-time and we're awesome.
Yep, that's right. Yes, full-time is the way to go.
And on that note, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you guys so much for watching This Week in Housing. I'm Corey Shields.
And I'm Boomer Bates.
And we will see you next time.